Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Intan Humairo. Here I will explain about the development of English as the final project of the course Introduction to Linguistics. The English language has been around since approximately 700 AD. The evolution of the English language occurred at three stages. The first is Old English, was influenced by Germanic tribes, and the second is Middle English, developed with more French influence after 1066 AD, and the third is Modern English, developed from around 1500 AD into the modern language that we all know today. First is Old English. Before 780, the Germanic tribes were in a perpetual battle for territory. They arrived in Great Britain, which was called Britannia at the time, and ejected the Celtic tribes, even forcing some of them to flee to mainland Europe in Armorica, nowadays known as Brittany in France. The Germanic tribes spoke language like Old Norse, Frankish, Frisian, Saxons, Anglian, Old language, which we can compare with Germanic dialects and the early stage of the English language that didn't yet exist. The origin of Old English is in direct link with the migration flows of the Germanic tribes toward the British island. The Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, and the Frisians. The Angles coined the terms England and English. The Germanic dialects moved Old English from 700 AD to 1100 AD. It was first written in the runic alphabet and then in Latin. The linguistics was formal. From a phonetic point of view, it was very close to the Old Frisian language, to the point where some linguists spoke Anglo-Frisian. It was also considered boring and left fundamental words behind, such as him, he, and their derivatives. The evolution of the early English language is closely linked to the story of invasions in Great Britain from the 8th years and the 9th years centuries. Notably, the Viking who spoke Old Norse or Old Irish dialect found certain words which are still used nowadays, such as take, give, or skin. The Old Irish language left its mark in English by influence fundamental grammatical rules such as they, them, and their, and as of the third person or singular. Second is Middle English. The English language evolved from the 11th century following the Norman conquest. At the Battle of Hastings in 1066 and the growth of the Catholic Church, Middle English was the mixtures of Latin language such as a Norman, French, and Germanic language, like Old Scandinavian, in regards to syntax, to word order, in particular the placing of the verb in sentence. We can compare the structure of English prose to Danish or Irish, which come from Germanic origins. We must go back to William the Conqueror's victory to understand the integration of Latin language. Following his victory in 1066 and his coronation as king at the Abbey of Westminster, William the First of England settled down in Great Britain. Norman was the language spoken. It was to the north is French, whereas a sort of French, the Ocean language. French diploma at the time were obligated to take English. Norman language led to serious linguistic changes in English. As it became the language of the courts, it introduced a lot of the diversity in the Middle English vocabulary. In many cases, there were two words used to refer to the same item. There would have been a Saxon word originally from Germanic and word originally from Norman. The Saxon term was used by the people, whereas the Norman term was used in the nobility, for example, pig versus porks and ox versus beef. Many words have been taken from the Norman language such as authority, government, pardon, battle, crime, and others. Nowadays, non-native English speakers often find it difficult to pronounce the famous "the" sounds during English classes. However, it was the Norman scribe who introduced the diagram, the joining of two letters like t, s, and k, as well as the letter we into e. Okay, the third is modern English. From the 9th century onward, modern English began to develop and is still evolving today. We split modern English into two periods. Early modern English marked by the Renaissance from 1500 until 1750. At late modern English from the 9th century and the 20th century. Nowadays, we talk of contemporary English, basic English, and business English. Early modern English marks the structure of spelling and grammar, which allows us to understand texts written by William Shakespeare. It is marked by increased presence of vowels. English continues to evolve with the influence of Latin and Greek. English authors write literary texts where scientific research are written in the Latin. It is why that words such as maternity, atmosphere, or selecton have been borrowed from Latin. Greek has equally left its mark with words such as anthropology, archaeology, and geography. During the Renaissance, the perceptions of the Latin language was superior to some words, which originated from Anglo-Saxons and Germanic. The growth in importance of other European countries, such as Italy during and Spanish has not have been left behind either, as Elizabeth I spoke this language. Modern languages such as French and Italian always influence English, to the point that some writers looked to launch and the campaigns in English but didn't success. It wasn't until the end of the 18th century when the tables were turned and English took the preponderant place in international business. The extension of English was marked by colonization and growth of the British Empire. The English language extended into Ireland, where half the population at the end of the 8th century still spoke Irish. Nowadays, 98% of Irish people use English as their mother tongue. Okay, I think enough for my explanation today, and I'm sorry if I have mistake. The last I say, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.